Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. This is Marilyn Gale. Today's article I wanted to discuss is about Keith Bush. He was convicted of murdering a teenager, which he always said he didn't commit that murder. The teenager was 14 years old and was strangled in Bellport, New York. Now, Keith Bush says that he was beaten by the police and forced to sign a confession he never read. While in prison, he had enlisted the help of an attorney at Pace Law School who sought to obtain records and showed Mr. Bush had not gotten a fair trial. On Wednesday, 44 years after his arrest, Mr. Bush was exonerated in Suffolk County District Court in Riverhead, Long Island. The DA, Timothy, I think his name is Sini, asked the judge to throw out the conviction, saying prosecutors never told the defense team the police had interviewed another possible culprit. Now, Mr. Bush is now 62 and said no one would listen and no one would at least hear him out. He was 17 years old in 1975 when charged with the murder of Sherise-Watson. She was strangled and sexually assaulted. Mr. Bush was arrested 4 days later. Now, the DNA found under the victim's fingernails did not match the sample Mr. Bush had given in prison. In 2008, the judge was given a motion to vacate the conviction and he turned down the request for additional testing on clothes and other crime scene evidence. A witness even recanted his testimony that said Mr. Bush was with the victim at a party she attended and she never made it home from that party. In 2018, Mr. Sini, the attorney, took the evidence to the Conviction Integrity Bureau to review the case. Now, Mr. Sini appeared in court to ask the judge to vacate Mr. Bush's conviction. He said that the prosecutors had engaged in a deliberate cover-up. The confession said that he stabbed Miss Watson with an Afro pick, which didn't match the forensic evidence because very little blood was found on her white sweater. Bottom line, Mr. Bush didn't commit the murder. As you remember, he signed the confession without reading it, and it said on the confession that it was written that he stabbed Miss Watson when in actuality she was strangled. Mr. Bush was released in 2007 before his 50th birthday and had to register as a sex offender. He served another year in 2013 on a parole violation for using a computer with internet access. So I guess it seems since he was made to be on the sex offense list, that the internet may give him access to minors. So now he's working in Connecticut as a forklift operator and engaged to be married. So, okay, after being released and serving the additional time, his name wasn't cleared. It still showed that he served the 33 years, but he was still on paperwork. It showed that he was guilty of those crimes. However, in 2018, after all that time that he served in prison, he finally got his name cleared using different resources. What's his name? Attorney Sinai or Sinai. I hope I'm not messing up his name, which I'm sure I am. So this is basically a lesson for all of us. Never give up especially when we know we're right. Give up. Mr. Bush says he didn't know what give up meant. He was determined, even after he spent all those years in prison, that he would clear his name. And that's what he did. Now, there's many men and women in prison right now, and they are innocent. We know that the more convictions, the better it looks on their record. The police or the prosecutor, mainly the prosecutor. But no one even told his attorneys that they had another suspect that they didn't even look into. They beat him, according to Mr. Bush, they beat him until he signed it without even reading it. They probably wouldn't let him read it. But to me, the more convictions that is under their belt as prosecutors, it looks good on their record when it's reviewed. So that means better position or whatever else they want to do. Their record is looked up. Look, they had 35 convictions and that's what it's for. Bottom line, it all comes down to money in their pockets. Hence, it is in their best interest to just solve the case and it be shown as solved and closed. Sounds about right to me. It was a deliberate lies that they told. They deliberately hid the truth. It's still going on today. We know. It's still, nothing has changed on that part. Men and women are being set up just so the case would show solved, case closed. Thank you for joining in. I just wanted to bring that because with the people getting out of prison, especially those who they look at their records and they're not violent crimes and people are being released. There have been attorneys for years working on this. And finally, they're being looked at. Kim Kardashian, what I really think is because of her status and people are listening to her. And that's why people are being released. People are listening to her when the attorneys have been working on all the cases that the people are being released. Attorneys have been working on those cases for years. But, it takes someone else, I guess, to come in that have some so-called status and they're millionaires and they're being listened to. And that's kind of sad that the attorneys, they worked hard on this. And I'm not going to say that she didn't help, but they had been working on this for years and years to release a lot of the prisoners that are released now. And I'm not downplaying Kim was instrumental, but I just wanted to say that this has been in the works for many, many years with no avail. So anyway, I'm going to end it right there. That's what I got. And thank you for joining, everyone. And if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you'll be notified of future podcasts and videos. And thank you for listening. Have a good night.